All right, good afternoon, welcome back. Today we're going to start chapter 17. We're going to be talking about basically the Middle Ages in Europe. So essentially it's after the fall of Rome up until about the 1500s. And this is chapter 17, section 1, Geography of Europe. All right, the physical features of Europe. Europe is a small continent, but it is very diverse, with many different landforms, water features, and climates. So Europe is actually the smallest of the continents, but it's, other than maybe Australia, but there is so much diversity inside of Europe when it comes to your physical landscaping. Although we call Europe a continent, it is actually part of Eurasia, which is the large landmass that includes both Europe and Asia. Landforms and waterways. Europe's topography, or the shape and elevation of land in a region, varies widely from place to place. So, there's going to be high mountains some places with low valleys. You're also going to have flat plains. You're going to have large forests. You're going to have areas with very little vegetation. Mountain ranges cover much of southern Europe, and dome peaks in the Alps reach higher than 15,000 feet. So, it's a pretty high mountain peak, and it's the largest mountain peaks in all of Europe. North of the Alps, it is much flatter, and most of northern Europe is known as the Northern European Plain, stretching all the way from the Atlantic Ocean to the Ural Mountains. So here you can see, here are the Alps, and this is the Northern European Plain that is north of that, and the Ural Mountains would be all the way over here to the east, which is actually what's considered to cut Europe and Asia apart from each other. Many trees grew here in the past. This is the location of most major rivers, and most start in the mountains and run north. So unlike what you typically see in our country where most of them run south, here most of them run north. If you travel even further north, the land begins to rise again, and far northern Europe has many rugged hills and low mountains. And you can see here, this is the Scandinavian peninsula, and they have mountains that run right up the back of it. You can see these hills and mountains in the northern part of the British Isles and the Scandinavian peninsula, which is what you see here. There are many peninsulas in Europe, creating a very long, jagged coastline. And in these coastlines, especially in like Norway, you can see these kind of deep inlet bays are actually called fjords. Climate and vegetation. Like its landforms, Europe's climates and vegetation vary widely from region to region. The southern part of Europe is warm and dry, so plants that need little water are common in this region. In northwestern Europe, it is more mild and cool, with a wetter climate and freezing winters. Scandinavia is the coldest part of and had colder weather throughout the year, with very few plants capable of surviving the weather. Scandinavia, it's up in the Arctic. Parts of it are in the Arctic. So, and it has high elevations in a lot of the parts of it. So it is a very kind of harsh climate a good portion of the year. Geography has shaped life in Europe and determined how and where people would live. So, in southern Europe, most people lived on coastal plains or in river valleys where the land was flat enough to farm. And you will see things like grapes, olives. You'd see sheep, goats. These are the main food sources that you would see in southern Europe. People grew crops like grapes or olives that could survive the region's dry summers, and in the mountains where the land was steep and rocky, they raised sheep and goats. And sheep and goats work well in those regions, so it really just made sense that those were the kinds of animals they were herding and raising. Because southern Europe has many peninsulas, people there don't live far from the sea, and as a result, many became traders and seafarers. And you can see there would have been a lot of old port cities that would have been created for these seafarers to go and to trade in not only different parts of Europe, but also northern Africa, the Middle East, these different places. Now, northern Europe. Most people in northern Europe live farther from the sea, but still had access to the sea through Europe's rivers. Because it was easy to transportation, many towns grew up along the rivers. It also provided protection, and Paris, France was built on an island to protect it from the raiders. You know, a lot of times building on an island or near the sea was, I shouldn't necessarily say the part near the sea, but definitely on an island, was good protection from invaders. The flat land was good for growing many crops, but also made it easy for invaders to attack, and as a result, Northern Europe was frequently invaded, and you had invaders from different parts of Europe, from Asia, from all over the place that would constantly be coming in and attempting to invade and take, because armies could move quite quickly through those regions. Now, that's it for Chapter 17, Section 1. If you got any questions, get a hold of me. Make sure you're getting the readings and the work done. Have a great day.